Welcome, regular intrepid viewers. Welcome to any newly scandalised viewers. I had to get back straight away because today the President of the United States announced he'd be proud to shut down the government. I mean, if this isn't proof of someone who's so out of touch, out of control, just out of it, what can you say? Well, I think today was a turning point. Apart from all the big legal stuff, I think it was a turning point. And according to the LA Times reporter who walked out after Trump and the episode with Chuck and Nancy, he said Trump had a folder and he just threw it away and he was snarling and screaming because he just owned the next step, which was a government shutdown, costing the people of the United States hundreds of millions of dollars if it goes ahead, because he has no idea, because he just foams at the mouth, and because he is a clueless wanker. Okay, for new viewers, you may have to look up wanker on Google. It's an Australian expression, but very applicable to the glorious leader. So there was that. But also the Flynn stuff. All we've seen so far is the heavily redacted documents. But I think Flynn, given that Mueller is saying no jail time, he has cooperated, 67 hours of cooperation, and I didn't realise thousands of documents. I think Flynn has put them all in it. And if you think back to the original thing he was fired for, not talking to Mike Pence, the vice president, why would you? The man doesn't speak back. Why would you speak to him? What a cardboard cutout performance. That hypnotised cobra thing that he does, where he just sits there. I mean, are people paying him? Has he got a paid job? Or is it just some rollout from The Apprentice they've pulled up? You know, anyway, the implication of all of this, viewers, is that if Flynn's stuff implicates Pence, then Pence goes out with Trump and we have President Nancy Pelosi. So this is big stuff. So I'm going to have a general look at what Flynn's material might contain and then how it relates to the hypocritical fuckwit of a vice president. Viewers, I just want to point out at this early stage, I really don't care what happens in other people's bedrooms. You are here in mine. As long as it's between consenting adults, really no one should care. But these are the very people who want gay conversion therapy. They want to defund Planned Parenthood. They're the ones, and aren't they always the ones who end up in the motel rooms on the highway with the rent boys or feeling up 13-year-old girls at the mall? It's always the way, isn't it? Sort of sleaziness. Okay, let me concentrate, and now we'll look at what Flynn's testimony has given Mueller. I think it's very, very important. Let's have a look. Okay, well here I'm back with the Rider-Waite deck. This is Flynn in his previous incarnation of an educated man, the world in his hands, a very measured person, you would think the ultimate American. But that all changed, you know, as we will see. His foundation card is even more illustrious, the star card. He was destined to be, I don't mean a star in a gimmicky apprentice way, but someone who could really give to their country in that old-fashioned sense of public service. And he sold out. This is him in his past. He was at a crossroads. He was offered bribes, I think. He was offered power. He was offered money, mainly money. These guys don't go further than the corner before they can be corrupted for money. He was at a crossroads and he went down the wrong road. He became a gun for hire. He became the Knight of Swords. Crashing through, he saw himself as the military man in that campaign. And we mustn't forget, viewers, how truly chaotic and demented the Trump campaign was. Complete nobodies would literally walk in off the street and say, I'll go and talk to Putin for you. I mean, George Papadopoulos. We're talking nobody. I've got another story on George, which I'll get to in another time. Okay, so I think Flynn saw himself as the dignified guy who had an experience in the military, who could control this situation of bribery and corruption that he was offered. He thought he could control it, and he went gung-ho. By getting his son involved, that's really gung-ho. So then what came out? Out in the cold, I mean, the ultimate shame of this, he will go down in history as one of the biggest traitors, regardless of the fine print. It's upside down, lessening as a reversal for those learning tarot, lessening the impact of out in the cold. That is the deal. So he made the deal so he doesn't go to Alcatraz, and decided to tell all. Okay, so what we really want to know is, because it was kind of weird, remember, he got sacked for not telling Pence something. Like, why would you tell Pence anything? He doesn't speak. The cardboard cutout in that press conference. It's just bizarre behaviour. So he must have said something, surely, to the cardboard cutout. So how does Flynn connect with Pence is the question. How does Flynn, and I've never understood this. Okay, let me bring you down. Okay, Flynn and Pence, Flynn and Pence. All right, two private men you have here. There's the Hermit on top, and it's about Flynn and Pence. So Flynn was doing his nefarious deals in private, and Pence, as we know, viewers, has a substantial private life of his own. Okay, so it was all done behind closed doors. What was it about? Oh, how did I know? You can tell I'm psychic. Revelation, here it comes. It was about money. Okay. It was about money and holding on to money and making money and everything about money. Okay. These are nice people. Stabbed in the back. Lots of swords. So they stabbed each other in the back. Sometimes I think they might even stab themselves in the back and then blame someone else. It's really bizarre, but a lot. It's the Ten of Swords. No coming back from this. I don't mean that he won't get the deal, but I'm just saying, in terms of prestige, Flynn will never recover. But the question was how it was with Pence. I think he stabbed Pence in the back. Good job. He probably came up against a whalebone corset when he stabbed him in the back. Underneath, this was both of them, I think, Knights of Wands. These guys, unlike Manafort and Stone and Giuliani, who see themselves as sleazy wise guys, these guys didn't. Both of them saw themselves as the warriors for a cause. You know, Pence would say, I'm a great American, and Flynn would say, America first, hand on the heart, Star-Spangled Banner, and all of that before he sold out his soul to the Russians for a few shekels. Okay, so that's how they both saw themselves. And justice is being brought to bear. So in answer to that question, it's not specific, but the dynamic is saying, yes, Flynn has put Pence deeply, deeply in the toilet, and it's about to be flushed. Oh, I do hope so. I so hope so. Oh, Lord. So, I think just one more question we need to ask here is just rounding up about Trump, because Trump is such a transitory figure. He has such poor concentration. He's probably forgotten Mike Flynn, and it's probably amazing to him when it turns up on his news feed and he goes, oh yeah, Flynn, oh yeah, I remember him. So I just got an intuitive flash then, viewers. I don't think Trump actually knows what Flynn did or what Pence has done or how their nefarious worlds overlap. I think he's so self-obsessed, he actually doesn't get it. He gets the Moscow hotel, he gets the wall, he gets certain big things. Oh, didn't you love Nancy's comment? Didn't you love Nancy's comment on his masculinity? He must have a problem, really, with his obsession with the wall. Oh, I love that. So, is it going to be President Pelosi? Is Nancy going to get a crack? Is Nancy going to be president? This is why it's so hard to read on this stuff, viewers, like we've been reading, for the last year, 2 years for some people, not me. It's my anniversary. I've had 1 year on YouTube. Okay, guys. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. If I didn't get this wonderful feedback, really I wouldn't. So Nancy, and Hierophant, sudden changes. Oh. So, here's Nancy, the willing sacrifice for her party. All right. Just remember, if you're not familiar with the imagery of the tarot, the Hanged Man is not someone being tortured upside down. It usually means being suspended, waiting for things to happen. It's also the willing sacrifice. She's the toughest cookie on the block in terms of keeping it in a holding pattern. And you see the halo there. It's also about a new perspective. Oh, interesting. Next we have the Hierophant coming down. Instrumental in this. Should Nancy Pelosi get the presidency, we know that Trump has to go. You could really just count ways, couldn't you? He's a heart attack waiting to happen. He could literally explode. He could implode. He could go off his meds, or he could take too many. He could actually just go crazy. He's really hovering. I'm not the only one to say that. He's really hanging on by a hair follicle, right? So we know for the system to work, and the Hierophant is the system, what the structures of society are. And thank God America still has a few standing, no thanks to the current bloaters. So these are the forces not just of law and order, but of decency and really civic norms too, which is important here. So we understand that Trump has to go and Pence has to go. So I'm thinking Pence now is looking more and more vulnerable. If they both go via the Hierophant, then we have sudden news, very sudden shifts and changes, massively fast stuff happening. The Eight of Wands is always about speed. Vroom. And she gets a Hand of God card. Now, with the Hand of God cards, all the aces, they are new big things that are initiated. In this context, for the question I asked about Nancy, this is a yes. I have a qualification for all of that, which is it can also be fool's gold. I mean, whoever the next president is, oh my God, they're going to have to get their brooms and rakes out. They have to rake the forest, remember? But it's going to be a very difficult time for anybody to be president. So, and she's really seriously not young. And I also have my own personal reservations about making way for the youth. But can't take it away from Nancy. Once she's sworn in January, this could be part of the reason Mueller's holding on. It's just waiting for the Democrats to be sworn in, because the cards could fall very quickly past that point. So the end of January, February, March, whooshka. So there is a massively good chance that Nancy could take the hot seat. For how long's a different story, and I'll read on that. But look, as far as this goes, what I'm looking at, you know, how extraordinary. We will see. Please keep the comments coming. So much more to read on. Maria Buttina's next.